Now we know this. Most people are programmed to believe that hard work is the key to abundance. Hard work is the key to success. I'm going to give you this new paradigm, this new perspective that shifts everything. And it's that rest is a revenue generating activity. Say it with me. Rest is a revenue generating activity. Why is this so groundbreaking for your consciousness? Because for most of us, whenever we rest, whenever we take a break, whenever we feel that slowed momentum, it triggers any memories of lack, and the subconscious mind goes, oh my gosh, I gotta do something. I have to prevent myself from possibly experiencing lack again in the future. I can't rest. Every time I perform, every time I prove myself, every time I exert effort, I get results. And so if I'm not doing those things, I'm not going to get results. And I don't know, I'll end up homeless, or, the mind can take us down this rabbit hole of lack. And before we know it, we're playing out in our consciousness, losing things that hasn't even happened in the real world. But this is all because the imprint of lack is so strong in your cells and on your memory, and especially on an ancestral level, which I'm going to talk about. So rest is a revenue generating activity. What does that really mean? That means when you are resting, you are still receiving. When you are resting, you are still receiving. I just posted a reel about how April was a $150,000 month for me, and I barely worked. Some people might perceive that to be a little bit of money. Some people may perceive it to be a lot of money. It really doesn't matter. The point is that I barely worked. How is this possible? I'll never forget, and I tell this story all the time. When I started my business, shifting out of finance, and I started my business, I was so hyper programmed to be in this energy of performance. Because I was an asset manager. And so in that capacity, it's all about, you're constantly looking at the market. You're constantly raising money from clients. You're constantly trying to accumulate more assets. And when it was time for me to step into this type of entrepreneurship, I would find myself feeling anxiety whenever I rested. I wanted to work it like a 9 to 5. And spirit came in, source came in, and they said, hey, you realize you could sit here right now and watch a movie, take a nap, but you could still be a vibrational match to money. This changed everything for me, because it began to rewire and reprogram this belief that spirit always needs me to be involved. Spirit doesn't need you to be involved. In fact, when your body signals that it's time for rest, it's also spirit communicating to you that, hey, there's movement. There are shifts in the invisible realm of the unseen taking place that don't require your physical action, right? When physical action is required, you will feel it. And sometimes that does look like a lot of action from you, a lot of movement, a lot of what appears to look like hard work. But it's that the energetic momentum is there because you're doing your part. Now, when it's time for source to do its part, if you don't take a step back and move out of the way, you actually block the flow. You block the flow. And this is what I see with so many people. Spirit is trying to reorganize things and communicate with people on your behalf and inspire them to support you, or inspire them to buy something from you, or inspire them to hire you. All of these things, all of this magic, this work taking place in the non-physical realms. But if you say, I don't feel the momentum, I don't see anything happening yet, nothing is happening, okay, I'm going to do something about it. I want you to understand that the action is springing forth from lack and fear. Usually when you're in that type of energy, when you're trying to force something because you're not seeing the movement or the traction, and you go, okay, I'm going to exert even more effort. But every time you exert even more effort, you block the flow of what source is trying to organize and orchestrate for you. Because if you were meant to do something, it wouldn't feel like force. You would just do it from a high vibration. Now, let's really dissect this because I know a lot of people struggle with this. Well, what's the difference between a high vibrational action and a forced action, right? An action that's out of alignment. When an action is out of alignment, it feels like I don't have the energy, but my mind is telling me if I don't do this, I won't accomplish X result. If I don't do this, I won't get what I want, or this thing won't happen. Now, I'm not talking about actions and things that are required. I'm talking about the types of actions that are optional, but you believe they are necessary because you're attached to outcome. Now, when actions are in alignment, it feels like this. I feel so enthusiastic. I can't wait to do XYZ thing. I feel the energy moving. There's more excitement than force. There's more movement than trying to create energy that isn't showing up for you. Now, when I mention actions that are required, what am I talking about? This is like, there are just some things we have to do, right? If I'm looking at running a business, it would be maybe you have to check emails, or you have to respond to things to keep energy moving, right? Or maybe you have to do some back end tweaks or updates, those types of things, right? We have these let's call them foundational actions that keep things moving. Yes, those are requirements. The example that's coming through is, let's say you have a business and you're wanting to launch something, and you set a very specific date to launch something, but that date comes around, right? That timeline is approaching and you're just not feeling it energetically. But because you're afraid that if I don't do this right now, like I intended on doing it, I'm going to possibly experience lack, meaning I'm not going to make money. I'm not going to create money. So then you force yourself to do the thing, and let's just say no one signs up, or it's not as abundant of an outcome as you had hoped for. Well, the fact that you had less enthusiasm to launch this thing is just showing you that it wasn't time. It just wasn't time. Now, if you wait, let's say you would have waited, you would have trusted this is a period of rest because spirit is working in the invisible realms of the unseen. So my action, for whatever reason, is not required. And you take a step back and you remember rest is a revenue generating activity. I'm still in receiving. I'm not being cut off. It's just that I need to take a step back so source can do its thing. I need to move out of the way. You do that. And then the energy starts to build. The momentum starts to pick back up. And you're like, oh, I'm excited. It feels more aligned now. Okay, now it's ready. And then you launch it and it's even more successful than you anticipated. So the way that I create money, the way that I create movement is I follow the flow. I follow the flow. When the energy is there, I go full speed. That's potent action. That's activated action. That's action that's going to carry me so far. That's how you build real momentum when it comes to anything. And then we have action that's really coming from fear. Well, I'm going to do this because if I don't, whenever you're engaging in that type of energy, I want you to understand those actions are very weak. You see, I can do less, but every single step can be so with power that it accomplishes more. I can do more, but there's so little energy behind those steps that it's basically counterproductive, meaning nothing in the field is moving. Because even though I'm doing and I'm performing vibrationally, there's no potency. So the action is encoded with a lower frequency. So whenever you are, whether it's at work, in a career, or in a business, whatever this looks like for you, start tuning into your energetic body. Is this a period of rest or contraction, which is just me moving out of the way for source? You want to look at it that way. Oh, this is me getting out of the way for source to do whatever it's trying to do. Now, we can experience a lack of enthusiasm when we're trying to take action on something that's unaligned. That's another caveat. A lot of people that I work with, they talk to me about this procrastination, and I always say, you're not a procrastinator. You're not unmotivated. You're just focusing on something that's unaligned with your soul's purpose right now. So you're trying to force yourself to do something because the mind has told you, this is the way I'm going to secure my abundance, right? How many of you are doing that? This is the way that I'm going to get the thing, and I'm going to do this. But what you'll find is that if it's not truly in alignment or a part of your purpose, the energy won't be there. Meaning you will feel exhausted, or there will be a lack of excitement or joy. It will feel like force. You will have to really force yourself to do this. And when you really force yourself to do it, you're putting actions, which are energetic ripples, out into the field that are weak. They're vibrationally weak. Okay. So it's not about what you do. It's about the frequency you are in when you're doing it. And when you allow yourself to rest, this could also be a period of recalibration. So we're trying to take action on something that doesn't feel good. Okay, what is spirit going to do? Okay, take away the energetic momentum to signal to you, maybe this is a time for reflection. Okay, I'm not feeling in alignment with this. Please show me what else is truly a reflection of the way that my energy wants to show up. How does my energy want to be used? What does my energy want to be used to create? The more aligned you get with that, the more fine-tuned it becomes, you'll find something really interesting, which is that the energy is already there. If you really observe anyone who is extremely successful, anyone who consistently creates money, it looks to other people, it looks like they're working hard, but they are just so in alignment with their soul purpose that the energy always shows up for them to take power-packed, potent action. That's the type of creator you want to be. You see, your masculine energy is how you create money, abundance, etc. Your feminine energy is how you receive. So there's this dance always happening, creating and receiving. Okay, I'm going to take some actions. I'm going to put create some energetic ripples in the field. Okay, then I'm going to sit back and I'm going to receive the full culmination, the full circling of my energy back to me. Ooh, this is so good. Do you understand how the masculine and the feminine are working? How you are co-creating with source. It's the same thing. You're going to do some actions. You're going to be inspired to do some actions. They should feel good to you. That creates an energetic ripple in the field. That energetic ripple then circles back to you. And now it's time for you to receive what you have vibrationally activated. So there's this dance between creating and receiving, doing and being. And if you don't listen to those signals and those impulses that say, it's time to do, or it's time to rest, then you're going to completely miss this rhythm that's happening between your soul and spirit, which births really powerful manifestations, really incredible manifestations. Now, many of us, we have inherited ancestral programs. I was getting this glimpse the other day as this transmission was downloading to me about rest as a revenue generating activity, and that rest is still receiving. And I got a vision of some of my African American enslaved ancestors, and I was able to tune into the nervous system blueprint of that era, of that time period, which I have turned off within my genetic sequence. But I understand many of you maybe haven't done that yet. And what it feels like is fear. I've got to be up at the crack of dawn. And if I don't do this, this, and this, and this, it risks the potential to be whipped, to be harmed, to be stripped away from my family, to be punished. When this goes on for so many generational cycles, it creates the generational program that says, if I don't work, I don't stay safe. So that program of safety, a lack of safety, can be embedded in your genetic sequence. So how are we going to shift this and turn this off? Well, first is recognizing what's happening. That fear, when that fear comes up, if I don't perform, if I don't continuously exert myself, my future will not be secure. I want you to start asking, where is this coming from? Who is this coming from? Send it love, send it love, send it love. I am supported. I am loved. It is safe for me to rest. It is safe for me to be still. It is safe for me to simply exist. Source has already validated and confirmed in this moment that I am worthy of being provided for unconditionally. So maybe you want to do a bloodline release letter, and this is one of the things you're writing about, how you've been struggling with the fear of your future, the fear of experiencing lack, the need to constantly do things because that's how you're creating safety. Dear ancestors, I so honor and appreciate everything you experienced within your incarnational cycles and within your contractual agreements. And now I am reclaiming a new frequency that says, I am now safe. And I release you. I release any patterns and programs and beliefs still associated or attached to that which you experienced that lives in my DNA. Body, please turn these memory codes off. And so it is uttered and so it is done. Okay? So remember, rest is a revenue generating activity. Rest is a form of receiving. There's no such thing as being cut off. There's only a such thing as getting out of the way and allowing spirit to work on your behalf, or allowing yourself to recalibrate so that you may take actions that are power packed and potent energy.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like